This is not a nostalgia video. Nostalgia is what you feel about things that did not matter much. These mattered. A man who could split a white oak bolt into 40 shingles in an hour built a roof that lasted 50 years. A woman who knew the 3-boil rule for pokeweed kept her family fed on what would have poisoned a stranger. These were not folk customs. They were engineering and chemistry, and accumulated precision, passed down in coal camps and cabin kitchens across 200 years. And they are closing out. One funeral at a time. My name is Gideon Adkins, born outside Harlan, Kentucky, on land my grandfather cleared. Some of these skills I learned. Some I only ever watched. One or two I heard described once by a man who is gone now. 10 skills. Each one took a generation to master. This is what they were. Number 10. Fro split oak roof shingles. Before asphalt came to these mountains, a cabin roof was split by hand with a tool called a fro, a blade with a perpendicular handle, set with the grain, tapped with a wooden maul, and twisted. Never sawed. One white oak bolt yielded 40 perfect shingles in roughly an hour. No saw, no nails, no power. The split grain shed water naturally because the wood fibers were never cut, only separated. A fro split roof lasted 50 years. A sawn shingle rots in 15. The last fro maker in Wilkes County, North Carolina, closed his shop in 1978. The ridge above this land is white oak from the road to the top. Nobody alive here can put the roof back on it the right way. Number 9. Reading a persimmon seed. In October, cut a ripe persimmon in half and study the kernel inside. A spoon shape means heavy, wet snow. A knife means cutting cold winds. A fork means a mild winter. In 1936, a WPA surveyor watched an old woman near White Top Mountain do this and laughed. 3 months later, the worst blizzard in 40 years buried the Blue Ridge. A researcher at the University of Missouri tested persimmon forecasts against 20 years of official weather data. The persimmon was right more often. The theory: the tree's seed responds to late summer soil temperature and humidity, which correlate with winter patterns. Ruth cut a persimmon seed every October. She never once said what it told her. She just put more wood up. Number 8. Ramp foraging and curing. Ramps emerge for about 3 weeks in April on damp hardwood slopes. The old harvest rule: take only the top leaves. Leave the bulb. Follow that rule, and the patch comes back every year indefinitely. Pull the bulb and the patch is gone inside a generation. The true skill was curing. Families pickled ramps in stone crocks with salt brine or dried them on screens over the wood stove for a month until they turned papery and could be crumbled into beans all winter. Ramp patches were family secrets, never shared with outsiders, passed father to son, marked in memory, not on paper. There is a ramp hollow on this land that Ruth knew and her mother knew before her. Gideon has told 2 people where it is. Both of them are family. Number 7. Lye hominy from field corn. Dried corn kernels soaked in wood ash. Lye until the tough outer hulls slip off and the kernels swell to twice their size. The chemistry releases the niacin locked inside corn that the body cannot otherwise absorb. That is why mountain families who ate hominy never got pellagra. Milltown families eating plain cornmeal sometimes did. Same crop, same county. The difference was the lye. Grandmothers made it in iron kettles, watching for the moment the hulls began to slip, then rinsing 7 times in cold spring water to remove every trace of lye. 2 full days of work, one of the great unrecognized public health achievements of the mountain kitchen. Ruth called it how you do corn. She did not need another name for it. Number 6. Salt curing pork without refrigeration. After hog killing, the curer packed belly, shoulder, and jowls into a wooden trough. 8 pounds of salt, 2 pounds of sugar, and saltpeter for every 100 pounds of meat. Rubbed by hand into every crevice for 1 hour. 1.5 days in the cure per pound. Temperature had to hold between 36 and 40 degrees. Too warm, and it spoiled. Too cold, and the salt would not take. The diagnostic was physical. Press your thumb into the center. Too soft, and it would spoil. Just firm enough, and it kept 2 years without a refrigerator, without an icebox, without electricity. Clara ran the fall curing on this land. She knew by feel. That is the only way you could. Number 5. Coded quilt patterns. A bear's paw block meant the maker had lost a child. A wandering foot was never given to a married man. It would make him leave home. A double wedding ring was stitched by the bride's mother in secret. Some patterns functioned as markers along underground railroad routes through these mountains. Oral histories collected by the Foxfire Project documented it. A quilt on a clothesline could signal shelter, safe water, or danger. The women who knew which pattern meant what learned it from their mothers at age 8. Oral. Private. Never written down. Museums own the quilts now. The grammar is gone. There are 2 quilts in this house Ruth made. I do not know what all the blocks say. I think about that often. Number 4. Sourwood honey harvest timing. Sourwood blooms 2 weeks in July, high on ridges above 2,500 feet. A real sourwood beekeeper moved his hives up the mountain by horse wagon the day before the bloom broke. Not the week before. The day before. The honey had to come off the moment the frames were capped, before goldenrod came in August. Wait 3 days, and it turned dark and strong. Pure sourwood sells for $35 a pint, because almost nobody times the move anymore. The old beekeepers read the dogwoods and the tulip poplars to know when the bloom was breaking. They read the moon. Harlan Ratliff kept 14 hives in hollow log gums down the road. He knew the dogwoods. He showed me once. Once was enough. Number 3. Sang hunting. A sang hunter spotted the 4-prong plant at 40 paces in September when the red berries showed against yellowing leaves. He dug with a narrow spade, lifting the root whole without breaking a single fiber. A broken root lost half its value. He always replanted the berries where he dug. A rule older than the state of Kentucky. That rule is disappearing faster than the plant. A pound of dry wild sang brought $800 in 2023. Poachers strip hillsides bare and replant nothing. Earl showed me where the sang grows on the north slope. He told me the replanting rule the same day. The rule is the skill. Knowing where to dig is easy. Knowing to put it back is what takes the teaching. Number 2. Brain tanning a deer hide. Every mammal carries exactly enough brain matter to tan its own hide. Cherokee and Scots-Irish hunters knew this as practical fact for 300 years. The hide was fleshed with a bone scraper, then soaked in warm water and mashed deer brain. The lecithin broke down the collagen bonds. The leather went soft, then the smoke. The hide sewn into a tube, hung over a smoldering punky fire for 4 hours. The smoke set the fiber so the leather stayed soft even after getting wet. The Smithsonian spent 2 years trying to document this, before the last man who knew it died in Boone. They ran out of time. I have fleshed a hide. Nobody showed me the smoke step. That has stayed. Number 1. The Begum Hive. Before the Langstroth box, mountain beekeepers kept colonies in sections of hollow black gum log, 3 feet long, 18 inches across, inside smoothed but never sanded. Bees rejected sanded wood. A flat slab on top, a notch near the bottom for the entrance. No frames, no foundation. The bees built comb the way nature intended. The keeper knew the colony's strength by the hum, and the queen's condition by the smell at the entrance. He robbed honey twice a year without gloves or smoke. The old way was to understand the bees, not to subdue them. Modern research suggests begum colonies may resist collapse better than framed hives. The last begum keeper in Madison County passed in 2022. Harlan Ratliff ran 14 of them down the road. I never fully learned what he knew. Nobody did. The last begum keeper in Madison County could read weather from a hive entrance with his bare hand. He tried to teach it. The person he tried to teach did not have time. These were not quaint mountain customs. 300 years of accumulated precision, engineering and chemistry and pattern recognition earned by people who could not afford to get it wrong. The learning passed on porches and in smokehouses and on cold hillsides. Hand to hand, once. That was enough if the person paid attention. Tell me in the comments which of these 10 your family still carries, which one your grandparents knew, what county you are in, whether anyone still keeps a begum or knows the hollow where the song grows. I read every one. Next video. The Appalachian building trick that keeps any home cool all summer with nothing but the wind. I will see you there.